December 14th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by the St. Johns River Water Management District. And now, a guy who believes once upon a Sunday night cheery will see the purple team get weary and banish them from Everbank's doors and hope the Ravens never score. J.P. Shadrack!
Wow, Edgar Allan's got nothing on Joseph. Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and this is Thursday. It's Week 15, big week, certainly for the Jaguars. A month left in the regular season, and plenty to get to in the next 2 hours. First off, on Jaguars Happy Hour, the Ravens-Jaguars coming up, of course, Sunday Night Football for the Jaguars for the first time since 2008 on NBC. Battle of first-place teams, and communication has been the buzzword this week around the Miller Electric Center. Plenty to discuss there, of course, with head coach Doug Peterson. He'll be with us in studio at 5 o'clock on the Jaguars Radio Network for the Doug Peterson Show. And Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. On 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, JP Shadrack, and Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman. Good afternoon, Logs.
Good afternoon, JP.
Great matchup this week. Ravens, Jaguars. The AFC playoff race is wide open. Certainly if the Jaguars can handle business this week. The number one seed, really, for a number of teams, is back in play.
Big picture.
If they lose, if the Ravens lose, then the Dolphins are there. Then, of course, the Chiefs, if they get their act together, they can make a run at it. The Jaguars as well.
I like to keep it a little bit more simple. And that, look, the Jaguars need to keep their distance, the space that they've created right now in the AFC South. And they also need to get back to playing good football. Good football to where you're not making mistakes that hurt your chances of winning.
Yeah, pre-snap penalties, missed assignments on defense.
Communication breakdowns.
All that.
I can hear Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
okay,
pretty much.
Bit on that one.
That's been the word this week, communication. Both sides of the ball, all three phases, really. And they've just had a few lapses over the last couple weeks.
Well, they've had a few, but I think the concerning part is that defensively you had 3 lapses that cost you 3 scores, and if you don't have that, you're looking at a completely different game. Offensively, you had 4 giveaways as an offense, and I believe that 3 of them were controllable. One of them, Parker Washington fumbling the ball. Look, that happens. Ball carriers are going to turn the ball over. I would have liked to have seen Parker surrender himself a little bit sooner once he realized that he wasn't going to go anywhere. But I understand that it's in a young player's nature to try to get all the yards that's there, especially Parker Washington is a strong player and can fight through tackles at times. But the other mistakes, you can pinpoint exactly why they shouldn't happen. And they've got to get that cleaned up, especially now that you're in the month of December. If you're going to give yourselves a chance, when I say give yourselves a chance, I'm not talking about a chance of winning the division. I'm talking about big picture stuff, okay? I'm going to go to your big picture.
Oh, you're going back to the
big picture for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
If you're going to find a way to assert yourself once the playoffs start, you have to start building to that now, much like they did last year. They built on their way, and then they got to get on a roll. You've got to do the same thing here in the month of December, and the time is starting to shrink.
And they're facing, obviously, a team this week that, they're number one seed for a reason. They're playing
really
the best
good,
consistent football in the AFC.
They're really good. And how many games in a row have they won? They're
rolling right now.
3 in a row, and they've won, I think, 7 out of their last 8 games or something like that. They've got a top offense, number 1 rushing attack, I think, in the National Football League, but a top 10 offense overall. They've got the number 2 defense in yards allowed, number 2 defense in points scored. They've got a lot of good players on that side of the ball. And, oh, by the way, their number 1 rushing offense in the National Football League includes the yards of a quarterback who's the most mobile quarterback in the league. And not only does he stress the defense because he's a threat to run the ball every single time, but he's also a threat from the pocket, more so, I think, than he's been in the past. And he's a threat once he gets out of the pocket because he creates these off-schedule plays where he extends the play, buys time, and he's finding Odell Beckham Jr. and Zay Flowers, his wide receivers down the field, and gaining big chunks. And that's something to be concerned about. And you better be ready for him. I can tell you that.
That's where this communication stuff comes into play again this week, and run fits and everything that go into that type of game with an extra body to account for on the offensive side. A lot of these quarterbacks aren't running threats. Lamar certainly is, whether they design it or otherwise. But you've got to just maintain where you are on defense, and he gets out of the gate, he can score from anywhere on the field.
Well, and he lost arguably his best weapon in Mark Andrews a couple weeks ago with the hip drop tackle against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that was a tough loss for him. But the Ravens have really, I think, recovered nicely from that injury. Isaiah Likely, the tight end that's taken some of the reps away from taken some of the reps of the loss of Mark Andrews, has done a good job. But the continued emergence of the wide receivers and their performance in that offense has been really good. Look, Todd Monken, is there an offensive coordinator of the year award in the National Football League?
No, maybe.
I mean, if there were, I think he would be up for that. I mean, he's one of the coaches, I think, that's had a significant impact on his side of the ball with his team. And obviously he was here for, I think, 2 or 3 years as a wide receivers coach.
4 years.
4 years, okay.
07 to 10.
And
how about that?
And really enjoyed being around Todd. He was kind of a fun, no bones about it kind of coach, and went to the University of Georgia and helped them win back-to-back national titles there, and then leaves there and goes to the Baltimore Ravens. And I think this is as good as Lamar Jackson has looked from the pocket since 2019 when he won the league MVP. But when he won the league MVP, I mean, he was doing a lot of that MVP stuff with his legs.
Sure he was.
Threw a lot of touchdowns, though, too, that year. But I think he's maybe at his best from the pocket this year that he's been in his entire career, which is impressive.
This Jaguars run defense overall this year is what they take pride in the most, and for the most part, they've been pretty good against the run. And it's not just Lamar. They can't hand it off. They've got a handful of backs that touch the football. And where does it begin for this Jags run defense, and what's the state of affairs on the defensive line and front seven right now?
Well, with this Jaguars defense, everything about their defense has to start with stopping the run. And this goes back, JP, to what we talked about before they even played a regular season game. And I said at that time that this defense is not talented enough to not be good against the run. In other words, they have to be amazing against the run to give themselves a chance at doing all the other good things as a defense. Rushing the passer, taking the ball away, being good against the pass, being good on third down. And as we've seen this year, when they haven't been great against the run, okay, let's look at the Cincinnati game. Let's look at the 49ers game. When they haven't been good against the run, they've given up a lot of yards in the game. I think what the 49ers put up like 490 yards or something. The Bengals put up 391.
Sure.
And due in large part because they weren't really good against the run like they usually are. And so they've got to be good against the run this week against the number one rushing attack in the National Football League. If you don't, then it's going to be extremely hard. Because if Lamar Jackson is in 2nd and 4s and 2nd and 5s and 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s, his legs are going to be able to convert a lot of the first downs, and the play calling becomes very easy for Todd Monken because he's a mobile quarterback. So you've got to do a good job on the 1st and 2nd down runs. And if you do that, I think you give yourselves a chance. If you don't, I think it's going to be tough.
When they do put it in the air, Zay Flowers, rookie wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr. is part of this team at wide receiver as well. And How about the guys on the outside, especially with the Jaguars' secondary, some names on the injury report this week?
Yeah, which is concerning. Cisco's on the injury report. Tyson Campbell remains on the injury report. Where is Trey Herndon going to be at after missing the last game with a head injury? I think those are all things that you got to keep an eye on to see how that plays out. Sunday night, do you get a little extra time just because it's Sunday night? I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, you get a few extra hours.
6 hours.
But I don't know how much or if that's going to be able to help. But most importantly, I don't care who plays. It's a matter of this defense has got to get back to communicating. And if they don't, it's going to be costly. You look at the one touchdown late in the ball game, the Bell, last week in Cleveland. And it's man coverage, and you just got to communicate between two guys to make sure that two guys aren't covering the same guy and then one guy's running free, because that's exactly what happened on the last touchdown. If you just communicate, then all of a sudden then you take care of business. The first touchdown to the tight end, Njoku. As an outside linebacker, defensive end, you've got to be able to pound Njoku, because it's essentially you're playing like a goal line defense. And Trayvon ended up getting fooled into thinking that it was a run. And as a defensive end, a lot of people would say, well, why would we have Trayvon covering Njoku? Well, if he kicks his rear end at the line of scrimmage,
he's not running down the field,
then he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And, that obviously was a big mistake in that ball game. And then you had a communication breakdown when Njoku is crossing the field and he gets his second touchdown in the ball game. Communication issue between linebackers, and then you have, the last one, which was the Bell one.
How does this happen in Week 14? I mean, you expect this kind of thing in like Week 3.
Well, look, it can happen all the time, and it's sometimes when you get into the season, especially you get late in the season, you can have a tendency to take things for granted. Okay. Whereas early in the season, you're like, yeah, okay, we're still communicating, but then, it's kind of become an old hat. We need to really talk. Yes, I mean, that's, over communication, there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. If you over communicate, it's a positive thing. It means you're communicating. And I know that Doug Peterson mentioned earlier in the week about how he wants them to over communicate in practice, and he's really stressing the coaches to make sure that they're hearing it, so that the players are hearing it themselves. But, yes, it's something that's got to get cleaned up. And JP, every team deals with some of those issues late in the season. It's not something like it's just unique to the Jaguars. It's a constant battle, and that you're trying to continue to not be comfortable, I think is a good way to put it. Because if you get comfortable, then you kind of get a little bit, I don't want to say lazy, but you get used to, oh, well, yeah, we got it. Yeah, well, no, you don't have it. You still got to make sure that you do have it, and you do communicate this week, because this week is different.
Got to keep that edge every week.
Well, you really do. I mean, it's about keeping the edge, but it's also, look, especially in the back end for the Jaguars, because you're having a lot of different guys playing. Okay, I mean, from Antonio Johnson to Winger to Greg Jr., Monteric Brown, everybody's been playing with the injuries that you've had in the back end with this Jaguars defense, and you got to get it cleaned up.
All right, we've got plenty to get to. We'll come back in just a moment and take a look at the Jaguars' offensive matchup this week against a really good Ravens defense. Imagine that, the Ravens with really good defense. It happens all the time.
I don't know if they've ever had a bad defense.
Right? I don't remember it.
I mean, really, if you think about it, even going back to the early days of this franchise.
That's what they started with.
They had a couple really good defenders on that team.
Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out ZipChair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. At 4:30, Kai Stevens in studio with us. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, and it's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, Remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Facing cancer takes a lot of determination, strength, and support. And you'll get it all at Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center. Determination from world-renowned doctors, giving you specialized treatment with cutting-edge technology and research. Strength and support from a dedicated team, caring for you completely, during and after treatment. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Appointments available at baptistmdanderson.com.
Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie this football season, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS.
It's time for the Make the Holidays Bright sales event at your local Ford dealer. Get special offers on our adventure-ready Ford SUVs or on our great selection of Ford trucks. Choose from a large inventory of Ford vehicles equipped with technology, space, and flexibility for any season. And let Ford make the holidays bright, bringing everyone together. Visit your local Ford dealer today during the Make the Holidays Bright sales event.
We have not had wrong routes. It has not been this person doesn't know what they're doing, they're running the wrong route or things like that. You know, I think back to we had 3 interceptions the other day in the game. I think one of them we didn't expect the ball at the time the ball came out, so our head wasn't around. We ended up missed opportunity. Unfortunately, that turned into an interception. If the ball hits the ground, it's first down. Second down, we'll keep playing keep playing the series out. We had another one. We got a 0 blitz. The ball's got to come out. You know, they're bringing more pressure than we have protectors. Quarterback threw a go ball. I think the receiver thought the ball was going to get thrown earlier because of where the coverage was. But again, understanding the entire situation, what the quarterback's dealing with, the ball comes out early, turned into an interception as well. And then we had another one. We took a post route a little flatter across the field where we were expecting maybe a little deeper angle on that. So nobody ran the wrong route.
It's Press Taylor, the Jaguars offensive coordinator, and welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District, Florida's water. It's worth saving. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. That was the offensive coordinator earlier today. The full press conference on Jaguars.com. And, so no wrong routes. Guys are running the right routes, just a little tick off or so.
Yeah, and I think it's still, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. You know, if somebody runs the wrong route or somebody doesn't get their head around, what's the difference? Okay, it's still the same result.
Well, it's not like, I guess, wrong route is, hey, he was supposed to run a post and he ran an out instead or something.
Right, but if he's supposed to get his head around, then
that's
you might as well run the wrong route.
Okay, all right.
So
semantics, I guess.
Well, I mean, look. It needs to get fixed, and whatever it is that needs to be fixed needs to be fixed. And if this offense can eliminate that, then I think that they've got a chance, even without some of their key players. It looks like they may end up getting a little bit healthy along the offensive line this week. Trending in that direction at least, maybe. Another game without Christian Kirk, another game under the belt of Parker Washington, another game of Trevor Lawrence not having Christian Kirk, another game of Evan Ingram being outstanding. I mean, the last two games he's been just fantastic.
So think about this, and he's got 84 catches this year. It's the second most by a tight end in the league this year. Only Hawkinson has one more. The league record for tight end single-season catches is 116.
He could make that very easily.
It's 4 games to go. I mean, you'd have to really kind of saddle up and do some big things.
All right, well, let's do the math, okay? If he stays on pace, which would be a torrid pace like he has the last 2 weeks, he had another 40 catches.
Well, let's see. 116 plus, 16, so 32 catches.
126.
Yeah. 116 is
that's just 2 games. But, I mean, that's he would blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
Okay, add 40 catches. No, if you add 40 catches to it, he would be close to it. What's the tight end you say the tight end record?
It's 116. So
okay, he'd blow it out of the water by
that's
10. It'd be 126 if he kept the same pace that he's had the 2 weeks.
32 away from tying the record, basically.
And look, I don't know if he can keep up this pace. I mean, that would be a lot to ask. But without Christian Kirk, it may end up happening.
Yeah. That would be something.
20 catches for 177 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's big. By the way, 2018, Zach Ertz, Philly, has the record of 116 catches in a season.
All right.
So it's possible. And then now, of course, the other thing is we're hearing from Press Taylor about the routes and all the things. That's because Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley had 27 targets last week and only 9 catches.
It's not good enough. I mean, compare that to Evan Ingram, and he had 12 targets and 11 catches. I mean, look, I'm not expecting people to be into the 90th percentile in catch percentage. It just doesn't happen. I mean, most of your big-time wide receivers, if it's 50%, you feel pretty good about it as long as they're giving you big plays on that 50%. But I would like to see it much better than that. I mean, for Zay and Calvin, it's got to be much better than that.
It's a work in progress on that. 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. It's Jaguars Happy Hour coming up at 5 o'clock. It's the Doug Peterson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Well, this Ravens defense is highly ranked, and it's quite a matchup this week against this Jaguars offense. You mentioned the offensive line, the left side of it. We'll see what is in play there. But, I mean, they've got 49 sacks this year, and they really spread the wealth in those. There's not one huge, massive stat guy.
No.
I mean, they've got a bunch of dudes across the board playing football well.
Yeah, a lot of people getting sacks, including some of the Ravens' defensive backs.
Yeah.
And this is a defense, first of all, it's a really good defense. But do they have an elite player like a Myles Garrett or an Aaron Donald or a Nick Bosa? I would say no, but the numbers on one guy would tell you yes, and that's Justin Madubuike, which is the defensive tackle for them who has 11 sacks, which is the most sacks by any defensive tackle in the National Football League, more than Chris Jones, more than Aaron Donald, which is impressive. Is he really one of those type of players? I think he's good. I think he's a notch below those guys, though. But statistically, he's been on a roll. He's had 10 games in a row with at least a half a sack or better. And if he ends up having a half a sack or better this week, it would tie a National Football League record for 11 consecutive games with a half sack or better. And then if he goes on to have one more game, then he would be in sole possession of that record. So he's a good football player. But there's a lot of good football players that they have. Clowney was a nice acquisition for them.
Yeah.
And Clowney
really was.
has had, look, Clowney's never been known as this great pass rusher. He's always been a great disruptor. Has always been the way I think to look at him. 2 times in his career he's had 9 sacks. He's got 7.5 now, so he could end up tying his career high. Well, look, the guy was on the street for anybody to take, and nobody was willing to give him a contract for a while.
He came in here, right?
Yes.
For a visit.
And the Jaguars chose not to sign him. Another guy that was available that they picked up who's having arguably a career year is Kyle Van Noy, longtime player of the Patriots, where he gained a lot of fame, and he's been a really good football player for many years, and he's on his way to having a career high in sacks. If he gets one more, that's a career high for him.
It's his 10th year.
Odafe Owe, the outside linebacker, young player, is a pretty good, solid player. The two linebackers are arguably the best in the league.
Those guys can run around and come hit you, too.
Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. I mean, these two guys can fly. They have the best nickel/safety in the National Football League in Kyle Hamilton. He is a stud. I'm talking flat-out stud. If you were having a draft, okay, and we're going to draft safeties, okay, that have the ability to play nickel, he's number one. Can you name me another that you might think about?
Why? What is this? Why is he that good?
Because he's a long safety that's an excellent blitzer. He's got great ball skills. He's an excellent tackler. And most safeties that are long can't play nickel because they don't have the short area quickness. Mm-hmm. He does, which is rare. And I would say, just to throw this little side note in there, I think Antonio Johnson, the Jaguars' Antonio Johnson, has a skill set that's similar to Kyle Hamilton's.
Hamilton's 6'4", man. That is tall.
Well, what is Antonio Johnson?
He's pretty
6'3", right?
To that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 195, and Hamilton 6'4", 220. He's a little bit bigger, but that length,
big safety.
Yeah, that's a big dude right there now.
Right.
And he's good now. He's really good. So, defensively, if you want to talk, when I said they don't have any great players, Kyle Hamilton's a great player. Make no mistake about it. Matabike is a really good player. I wouldn't call him great because it's the first time that and I think his sack total in his entire career, he's almost surpassed that in 1 year.
It's amazing, right?
Which is a contract year. Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Imagine that.
That happens to work out pretty good. And on the outside, Marlon Humphrey's been a good player at corner for a long time. On the other side, Brandon Stevens is playing quite a bit. And Geno Stone's a safety for them that plays a ton because Kyle Hamilton ends up moving to the nickel, and then Geno Stone comes in and plays safety. And he is second in the National Football League with 6 interceptions. So this defense is good, and they're physical.
And don't forget, whenever the Ravens are on the schedule, the special teams part of it. The field goal game is going to be there from wherever they need it to be with Tucker. He's hit the longest field goal in league history in his past, and obviously some big-time kicks in his career, and a lot of them. And in the punt block game and all that stuff, under John Harbaugh, like that is a priority.
Yeah, well, Harbaugh was the former special teams coordinator. Now he's the head coach of the Ravens, and, of course, been there forever. And there's not many head coaches in the National Football League that came from being a special teams coordinator. Chris Horton, who is the special teams coordinator now, the Ravens, will be getting interviews in this next hiring cycle. He will get an opportunity to interview for a head coaching job. Very well respected. I think he's been there for 5 years now, and in the 5 years that he's been there, they have performed at a high level on special teams. They've been a top 10 special teams unit every year that he's been their special teams coordinator. So if it comes down to special teams, look out. Look, the Ravens last week against the Rams in overtime ended up having a backup punt returner end up taking it to the house in overtime and won the game for them.
It was a hell of a return, too.
Great
Spin
return.
move, tiptoed the sideline, came out of a tackle and kept running. That was awesome.
Well, Devin Duvernay is their normal punt returner and is a Pro Bowl punt returner, I believe. Ended up was injured, unavailable, and then this little is it Tylan?
He's Tylan.
Tylan Wallace, right?
Tylan.
Wow, what a great play. And Tylan Wallace is he's one of these little guys, little scat guys, okay? And he did a great job in taking it all the way back.
We've got plenty to get to. Kai Stevens joins us after the break, Jaguars reporter. We'll get her thoughts on the week ahead and Sunday Night Football. And, of course, the Jaguars and the Ravens coming up. The game presented by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week. and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every single play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. You've worked hard for your money. So if you're ready to up your financial game, it's time to choose EverBank. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Earn your advantage at everbank.com/Jaguars.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans. You know what you expect at an airport hotel. A bed, a shuttle that's never on time, and if you're lucky, a day-old Danish on your way out the door. But at the Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport, you get a renovated lobby, restaurant, and bar, and 10,000 square feet of luxurious space for memorable family and business events. So stop by, stay a while, and expect to be surprised. Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport. Book online or call 1-877-2-CROWN. That's 1-877-227-6963.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
A lot of confidence downstairs. I mean, the guys are excited for this week. It's a two good football teams coming together, 2 top 4 right now in the AFC, playing, and obviously it's great for the NFL, great for fans, and these are the games. Again, it goes back to what I expect our players to get used to, right? Playing in moments like this and games like this. Baltimore obviously has, but the confidence is high, and the confidence is great. I mean, again, it just we have to turn it internally and just focus on us and make sure we are doing everything that we can in our power to be prepared for these games. But the confidence is there.
It's there. Head coach Doug Peterson earlier in the week, and welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, the Ravens-Jaguars matchup presented by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. We're under the lights. Sunday Night Football for the Jaguars for the first time since 2008. Kai Stevens joins us in studio now. And good afternoon, Kai.
Good afternoon. I know Doug says we shouldn't get too excited, but I'm still going to get excited because I love primetime games. It means a little bit more when it's a night game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we've been waiting all day for Sunday night. That's how the song goes,
There's
right?
a song about it, of course.
That's right. I mean, and the division-leading teams, it's mid-December. I mean, Christmas is 2 weeks away? I'm bad at math.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's always the 25th, right?
Yeah, it's about right.
I'm kidding. That's coming up. I mean, all these division races, the playoff chase slugs. I mean, it's like, this is all you want. This is it.
Well, it's Sunday Night Football at home. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, it's the national stage. It's an opportunity to win, which last opportunity you didn't do so good on. So let's go. I mean, beat the number one seed on national TV and show everybody that what you're a team to contend with.
And, that would also mean that they've probably communicated well. That's been the buzzword this week, Kai, and it's something that's popped up the last couple of weeks. Some points in each of those losses where they've lost a little bit of track of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the miscommunication issues from what we've noticed just with our own eyes were on the defense previously, maybe with the secondary, whatever's going on with the pass rush. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but last week it was the offense, which obviously we knew they would struggle a little bit without Christian Kirk there because he does so much for this offense and he's so much in sync with Trevor Lawrence. But just to demonstratively, you physically see them putting their hands up and they just look a little bit out of sorts and confused. And I know everybody's kind of listen, Trevor didn't practice. And of course there's a lot to do with that, but you're well, it's week 14, 15, we would assume they'd be on the same page. But obviously there's a lot of different things that go into that. And there's several different plays. I would have to imagine that was a focus for them this week.
I think that's the one thing that was surprising to me in this ball game. When you got a hurt quarterback, most of the time you get this raised awareness around him on that side of the ball. Look, we got to be really good. Like the New Orleans game.
Let's help our guy out, right?
We got to make sure he stays protected. He's been beat up a little bit. And the protection in the New Orleans game, if we go back and talk about that game, was fantastic. How was the protection in this game? Not so good.
He got hit 12 times, right?
I want to say it was a record number of pressures on the year, 26 pressures. 26 times he was pressured in this ball game.
Boy.
And the wide receivers, the miscommunication, not on the same page, whatever you want to call it. But the fact of the matter is that those around Trevor did not elevate their level of play, which was disappointing to me because that's what I expected the most. Because, look, when your guy is down a little bit, let's everybody pick it up, okay? We're going to pick it up because we know he may not be able to do something that he normally does. And it didn't happen.
We did see a couple of flashes, though. Obviously, Evan Ingram's been playing amazing the last two games, which without him, I don't even want to think about where they would be right now in offense. And then I've really been impressed with Parker Washington. I know he had that fumble, but he's really smart, and I feel like the little tiny bit of the playbook he knows he is good at, and as that grows and as he takes all these reps with first team on offense where he was really mainly special teams before this, I have to imagine he'll get better. He's got 2 touchdowns so far, but I've been impressed with how quickly he's been picking things up.
Yeah, I think you probably have to kind of temper expectations a little bit. He's not going to be Christian Kirk. They're different. No. They're different style guys. Same idea, but Christian's been at this for so long that it's just going to be a different output when he's out there. So maybe temper your expectations a little bit, right?
He has an interesting skill set, though, because I think he's a little more physical than Christian is. So, he can kind of fight for a ball when it goes for a jump ball, which is not – you don't always see that in a slot receiver. So I think that's kind of interesting, too.
Well, he's built like a running back.
Exactly.
He's pretty thick. And, yes, definitely the physical part is great point because the physical aspect that he has is much better, I think, at a higher level than what Christian was at. But – there's something that Christian had that Parker Washington doesn't have, and that's the elite speed to go deep. Mm-hmm. Not only is Christian an excellent short area quickness guy, but Christian, if he's in man, he can run by some people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Parker Washington can do that, but he's got some quicks, he's got power, and I like his game. And I think he's an excellent acquisition for being a 6th-round draft pick. It's not very often you have a 6th-round draft pick that you go, yeah, that's pretty good,
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the Thursday night game the Christian Kirk short catch and then outrunning everybody.
Bye-bye.
Like the fastest speed for any receiver this year or something for the Jags. We missed that. We need some of that. Need some of that. Kai Stevens in studio with us. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Kai Stevens, and Lamar Jackson coming in, former MVP. And he's the leading rusher for the Ravens. He's about to surpass 3,000 passing yards for the year. And, you know what you're getting when Lamar comes to town.
think that's the scary thing, right? We always knew he was a running threat, but now he's comfortable sitting in the pocket and he has wide receivers that he's trusting in. And that can be very problematic for defenses trying to deal with that, because you can't bite on everything, because he will run by you and then it's 70 yards down or however far he wants to run. So obviously I can't say it in a way that's big enough. It is a very big challenge for them. So I'm curious what the game plan will be.
And Logs, then he's got the flick of the wrist. He can throw it down the field. It's not like he's got a really nice arm.
Yeah, he's got a nice arm. Is that as accurate as some of the elite passers that we've seen in the league? No, but he's getting better, and that's the impressive thing. What impresses me the most, though, is the ability to run and extend plays, and the way that he can protect himself without getting hit running the ball. And it reminds me, and I've never been a big video game player, but
really,
I heard you liked pinball.
I like pinball, okay, but not the video games. But he reminds me, because I got a couple friends that used to tell me that they would play Madden and then they would create these super players. And somehow they'd crack the code on video games of some kind. They'd crack the code and create these players that had great, they'd up the category in speed, quickness, smarts, all that kind of stuff. And that's what Lamar is. It's like he's at a different level when you watch him on the field, and how that he can evade people and not get hit, okay, and still keep his eyes down the field and still make a throw at 30 yards with the flick of a wrist. And you go, how does he do that? But he does it. And that's the part that you get scared about with him, is because he has that ability to where any play he can make you pay at any moment, and in two different ways, with his legs and with his arm.
I had Logs pegged as like a PS5 Madden player, like in the tournaments and everything, Kai.
You know what I did play?
I was wrong on that.
I used to play, the only time I ever played video games, this was back when I played EA Sports NHL hockey.
Okay.
Oh, it's a great game.
Back in the
like
early
Sega
90s.
Genesis.
In the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I used to play with the equipment guys with the New York Jets.
There you go.
Yeah, my team was Chicago, Chelios and Jeremy Roenick.
The 93 one, I think, had Jaromir Jagr on the cover. I had that one on Sega Genesis. Right. A great game, Kai. Great game.
I'm an NBA Jam girl myself.
I was another great game. And an arcade game was even better than the video
But if
game.
I could, pinball is my thing. I'm a big pinball guy. I like pinball.
Tonight,
you heard it here first.
Hey, there's arcade games and things at String Sports Brewery. And tonight, who are the guests for All Access? Who you
Our
got?
specialists are with us. Logan Cook and Ross Matisic are going to join us, the long snapper and the punter. And I am thrilled about this. They're some of my favorite people on the team. And they've been involved in some non-special teams plays this year that, Ross forcing a fumble, recovering, Logan with the, with the fourth down
the pass,
throw there,
right.
The fake. So they're a good time. It'll be good. It'll be a good show for sure.
Logan Cook tied for 6th in the league in net punting average. Another fantastic season for him. He's got so many different types of punts in his arsenal.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah,
he does, and his secret weapon is the lefty throw.
Yeah, a left-handed thrower.
Is he left-handed in real life?
Yeah,
real life. Yes.
You go back to
when he
fake
writes,
punt,
he's left-handed, right?
And who in the world throws left-handed and punts right-footed?
Well, there's some baseball people that do that, right? Like throw left and bat right. I mean, you can do that.
Yeah, but normally the right is like the predominant one, right? So
Right,
you're saying
if you
to
punt
kick,
right-
which is your main job, you would use what you would assume was your main foot. So if he's left-handed, you would think he would kick with his left foot.
I mean, you know what we should do? In the commercial break, let's go outside. We'll try to punt left. You right-handed, JP?
I am right-handed.
Kai,
yes.
right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, let's go out there and try to punt left-footed.
No, I'm going to pull something. I don't think that's a good
There's a punter for the Tennessee Volunteers who is ambidextrous. He can kick with both legs.
He's amphibious.
Or that. Both. Can you imagine that?
Well, do you wear special shoes on each foot, or are they both the same? Because you could try to throw them off.
It's a good point, right? You use your kicking shoe on the right foot or the left
Well,
foot?
you wear two kicking shoes.
You
right?
wear them both.
Yep,
you wear
there
a pair of kicking
He's ready to
shoes.
kick.
I don't know how people can do that. That's very, very odd there. But some people are ambidextrous and can do that. I remember, I think I've told you this story before, but we had a tight end that I played with in New York, and he was a first-round pick, Johnny Mitchell. And Johnny would take a football and throw it. He actually played here for a year. would throw the ball 65 yards right-handed, and you'd toss him another ball, and he'd throw that one left-handed 65 yards. Who does that? I mean, and he could catch the ball one-handed with his right hand, one-handed with his left hand. It was just like, wow, the amount of talent that this guy had was amazing. Didn't live up to the first-round pick expectations, but he could throw the ball left and right-handed for a long way.
He's fun at parties, I bet.
I bet he is. It'll be a party tonight at String Sports Brewery, and the specialists are there, Logan Cook, Ross Matisic, 7 o'clock, right?
Yes, come see us.
Fox 30, right?
Yes.
Yes, Fox 30. That
Yes.
was an easy setup, yes. We'll see you there, Kai. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Kai Stevens joining us in studio. Plenty ahead. We'll take a look at the injury report when we return. Then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Peterson Show with, you guessed it, head coach Doug Peterson and NBC sports analyst Devin McCourty joining us as well. This is Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
It's time for the Make the Holidays Bright sales event at your local Ford dealer. Get special offers on our adventure-ready Ford SUVs or on our great selection of Ford trucks. Choose from a large inventory of Ford vehicles equipped with technology, space, and flexibility for any season. And let Ford make the holidays bright, bringing everyone together. Visit your local Ford dealer today during the Make the Holidays Bright sales event.
Hey Florida, this is Luke Fortner, center for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We all know the rush of a good game, but there's no winning with aggressive driving on our roads. It's all about strategy and control. Embrace the space with the driver in front of you, go the speed limit, and use that blinker. These are the moves that make us all champions of the road. Target Zero is our game plan for safer roads and is a testament to our teamwork and dedication. Join me and let's get everyone home safely every single day.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is number one among state schools with the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
The tape is usually never as good or as bad as you think. So you watch it, and it is what it is. There's corrections. Obviously, there's things that we did in the game that are uncharacteristic and mistakes, all the way around that we can't make. But it is what it is, and you got to correct them and move on. And same thing when you feel like you played great. There's usually stuff on the tape where you're like, maybe I didn't play as good as I thought I did. I left a lot out there. So, good or bad, you got to assess it and you got to look at it for what it is, and you got to make the adjustments and corrections moving forward. And we had a great start to the day today, and got practice obviously here in a little bit, and it'd be important to be sharp and just communicate and all those things which we've already kind of fixed a lot of the issues, so I feel really good about it.
That is quarterback Trevor Lawrence from Wednesday, and welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, our thanks to Kai Stevens. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, and plenty to get to at the 5 o'clock show. It's the Doug Peterson Show. Jaguars head coach will be with us in studio at 5 o'clock, and we'll get his thoughts on the week that was and the week ahead and the week of practice so far and how the Jaguars will try to bounce back. And by the way, another light show is scheduled before the game. If you're coming to the game, which if you aren't, I don't know why you're not, you should. It's Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a fantastic crowd. It will be a teal light show this week before the game. So when you enter the stadium, everybody will have an educational flashcard in the cup holder of their seat. So you'll need to synchronize your device for the light show, and you'll attach a teal tab from that card to your mobile device's flashlight. There's a QR code you can scan. There's all this stuff that can help you sync your phone. You should be in your seat by 7:50. It's an 8:20 kick.
And it is a teal out.
Teal out, teal light show, all teal all day.
So wear your teal, folks, if you're coming to the game. Players are going to be wearing teal.
I would think so.
JP's going to be wearing teal.
I have a few teal shirts to choose from.
I will be wearing my teal shirt as well.
Yeah. I might wear the one with the white stripes on it.
I don't have teal pants.
I don't think I'm going to ever get teal pants, and I'm okay with it.
I don't know, man. Some guys look pretty good in teal now.
I'm sure
teal
they
pants
do.
Like Johnny. Old Johnny looks good in teal pants.
I'm sure they do. Time for the injury report, presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just not this guy. This guy doesn't look good in the teal, in the pants at least. I'll take the shirt. I'll wear the shirt.
Yeah, you
don't need the pants.
Yeah, you don't need.
I'm good.
To attract attention to your legs.
I'm good on that. The injury report. It's out on the Jaguars X account right now for today. Jamal Agnew, wide receiver, shoulder injury, limited again today. His window opened earlier this week, and it could be trending the right way. That'd be a nice bonus to have Agnew back out there returning kicks.
Well, I think it would be a boost to the special teams, and it would give you comfort, I think, as a coaching staff to have the dependable Jamal Agnew back there fielding the kicks. You're always getting nervous about having a young player back there fielding a punt at a critical moment when you get traffic around them or something of that nature, or making a wrong decision. But also having him on offense to be another weapon since Christian Kirk has been out. I mean, I think it would help. And it would also help from the standpoint of you can hand him the ball a couple times on speed reverses or things of that nature to be able to keep a defense honest. Because Jamal's got, returnability, and he's also got the ability to make things happen with the ball in his hand as a runner in certain circumstances. He's not a tailback by any means.
C.J. Beathard, left shoulder issue, full again today. Christian Braswell, cornerback, his window open off a hamstring injury, limited today. The updates today, Tyson Campbell with a quadriceps injury is limited today. He didn't practice yesterday. Andre Sisco with a groin injury, limited today. He was out yesterday, so that's good news. Offensive line, Ezra Cleveland limited off the knee injury. Travis Etienne Jr., ribs injury, limited today. Trey Herndon, concussion, limited. Dearness Johnson, running back, knee injury, limited. Wide receiver Jay Jones, limited with a knee injury. Trevor Lawrence, full go with the ankle. Walker Little, the left tackle, with a hamstring injury, limited. And Brenton Strange with a foot injury, limited. So let's see about the offensive line. Little and Ezra Cleveland, obviously there. And then Brenton Strange, could he be back in the fold this week? We'll see.
That's a typical list at this time of the year.
Right.
It's pretty long. And the reality is you could probably put, 35 guys on that list if you really wanted to, from guys that are getting treatment at this time of year. Virtually everybody's getting treatment for something. Nobody is just saying after practice, saying, yep, good. I don't need an ice bag. No problem. I'm going to go in and lift weights for an hour. Most guys go in and lift weights for an hour. Then after that, they go to the equipment room or the training room to get ice to address something on their body.
Never ends.
It's just, that's just a way of life. It's the way it is.
This is the business we've chosen.
And And I will say that today's ice machines, I mean, back in the day, we would use plastic bags had an ice machine, and now they still have all of that.
I was going to say, how can you reinvent ice? I mean, it's ice.
Well, they have these things. I mean, if you remember, like last week, Trevor, with the high ankle sprain, he took this machine home and slept in it at night, and it's called a Game Ready machine. These Game Ready machines, and I've used them before, are amazing. They have, imagine a custom-made, and not to each player, but custom-made to the body part. For example, let's say you needed to ice your shoulder, okay? You can actually make one. It literally is Velcroed for the shoulder that covers the entirety of the shoulder. They have custom ones if quarterbacks icing the shoulder and the arm, everything. If you wanted to get one, you can get one custom made. And what they do, they attach to a body part with Velcro, and then a hose hooks up to them. And then the machine itself is probably about the size of a small toolbox, okay? Let's say 12 inches by 12 inches by a couple feet long, or a foot and a half long. Mm-hmm. And inside of it is ice and water. And then it pumps this ice water. You set the temperature range. It pumps it through this thing that's on your shoulder that's fitting tight with the Velcro, and it also inflates to give you the compression.
Huh.
You know, the old RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation. Well, you're getting the ice and the compression with this one machine, and it pumps it through. And like Trevor slept with that machine to where it would turn on and then turn off, and then turn on and then turn off throughout the night, which I'm sure helped dramatically.
Noise? What is this?
It's a very quiet hum. It's kind of like a white noise, so it's not something that would bother you or keep you up while you were trying to sleep. But yeah, I mean, these machines that they're using nowadays are incredible.
How about that? Hey, coming up in just a few moments, the Doug Peterson Show. The head coach will be in studio with us. What do you want to find out from Doug today?
Well, I mean, I think the first question you got to ask is, how do you fix some of those mistakes, miscommunications that you've been having as a team, as a coaching staff? How do you go about doing that? And that's obviously the number one topic from last week going into this week. And then also, how do you contend with a Lamar Jackson-led Ravens? That's not an easy answer.
It's a great question. And, not only the communication, but how do you fare if everything is communicated well against this Ravens defense? I mean, this is a group that ranks highly as well.
Yeah, it's a good football team. I think it's at the top of the AFC for a reason, and I've got a lot of respect for John Harbaugh. I think he's a fine coach. I mean, you're talking about a coach that's been in Baltimore for a long time. Baltimore has been, I think, one of the model franchises in the National Football League. You go from John Harbaugh, who's been there for, 16 years now.
That long, wow.
It's his 16th year. Wow. Their general manager that they currently have, general manager / executive vice president, Eric DaCosta, he's been with the organization for 28 years. In 28 years, he's worked with Ozzie Newsome, who was the previous general manager before DaCosta ended up taking over. And what's impressive is that Eric DaCosta, he got promoted to the general manager seat, but Ozzie Newsome is still there. So DaCosta and Ozzie Newsome, the team of those two guys, have been with that organization for 28 years, which is amazing to have that kind of longevity at that position. And then for a head coach to be in year 16 is also amazing. It really is a model franchise in the National Football League.
Think about all the changes this franchise has gone through in the last
those years. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. And kudos to the Ravens. They've won 2 Super Bowls in that time. One with Brian Billick, who was there, I think that Super Bowl was 2000-ish.
Yeah, that was the great defense, yeah.
And that defense was really good.
Yeah.
And then Harbaugh led them to a Super Bowl in 2012, I believe.
When the lights went out in the Superdome.
Yeah, the Brother Bowl.
They rallied to win.
Brother Bowl.
Hey, coming up next, the Doug Peterson Show. We'll hear from the head coach and Devin McCourty of NBC Sports with us as well. That'll do it for our first hour on Jaguars Happy Hour. Thanks to Kai Stevens for joining us in studio. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. This has been Jaguars Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Doug Peterson Show. Brought to you by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Peterson Show starts right now.
And welcome in. It is the Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. It's Week 15, the Ravens-Jaguars game coming up at the bank this Sunday night. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and head coach Doug Peterson in studio with us. Good afternoon to you, Coach. Good to see you again. And, hey, you know, the big buzzword this week around the building has been communication. And it's Week 15. How has that gone so far in practice this week, let's say?
I mean, it's gone well. You know, my wife tells me all the time that I need to be a better communicator, right, with her, and rightfully so, because if we don't communicate, we're not on the same page. And so it's the same thing with a football team. And you know, the last couple of weeks we've missed some opportunities, both sides of the ball, really all three phases, just by not opening our mouth. And we just, you know, we ask our guys all the time, we challenge our guys all the time that you have to talk, you have to communicate, calls, you gotta, you know. You got to verbalize it, because if you don't, big plays are going to happen for your opponent, and that's what happened last week up in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you kind of get to this point in the season, guys can take things for granted that, okay, well, he is already going to know. And sometimes just that eye contact, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that verbal communication. The eye contact sometimes solves a lot of that.
It does, and I think that comes with teams that have been together for 6, 7, 8 years, and players that have been together for such a long time, and they've played in the same scheme together, and they can do that. They can get away with just a little verbal, you know, heads up nod or something like that, or just make eye contact, and they're on the same page. But you know, when you're only in your second year and you know, you're asking our guys to do that. We need to emphasize it. When I say we, it's the coaching staff. We need to demand it from our players, obviously, and get it out of them, and making sure that they're talking to one another on the field.
So start with your offense against this Ravens defense. Number 2 defense in the National Football League in yards allowed, number 2 in points allowed. You went from the number 1 defense in the league in Cleveland here to Baltimore number 2. What a challenge.
It's a great challenge, and we're excited for the opportunity. Number 1, you know, it seems like Baltimore and their history have always had great defenses, right? And they pride themselves on that. And, you know, and I look back at the Cleveland game, and we did some really good things in that game. We took advantage of some opportunities. We missed some opportunities to score more points, and really felt like we had a chance to win that football game. And you know, the turnovers obviously are things that have kind of plagued us and kept us back a little bit this season. And going into this game, you know, you're playing probably a much better offense, number 1, and you really can't give this team anything, any opportunities, any extra possession. So, you know, work's cut out for us. It's a good defensive front, good front 6, 7 guys up there, and their secondary. They got some smart guys that have been around a long time. Even their defensive coordinator, you know, has been kind of grown up in the Baltimore organization. I know he left a year to go to Michigan, but he's back and you know, coordinating the defense. So he's seen a lot of football there as well, and it's no surprise why they're top, you know, one of the top defenses in the league.
Yeah, quite a matchup this week. Head coach Doug Peterson with us. To the Jaguars offense now, and let's get into this running game for the Jaguars team here, and trying to get, yes, the yardage is there for Travis Etienne for the season, but the yards per rush is down the list a little bit. How do you improve that down the stretch? Yeah,
it's interesting because I think we're 10th in the league in attempts, but we're 31st or something, as you mentioned, in yards per carry. Those two should align a little bit more, right? If you're going to run the ball as much as we have, you should have better results, right? And so, you know, it's something that we look at as a staff, and we got to make sure we're putting our best concepts together. We're repeating the best concepts, right? So there's familiarity with our offensive line. I know we've had some injury up front, and there hasn't been a lot of consistency, you know, particularly on the left side, and guys have been in and out of the lineup, and Ezra's new, you know, and getting him caught up. But for me, it's just a matter of let's make sure we're putting our guys, in the right positions and helping them be successful on the football field. And then it's just a mindset. Running the ball sometimes is not pretty. It's more the physical aspect of it. The backs have got to hit the right holes and things of that nature. But again, it's coaches and players working together and really demanding sort of that physicality that, quite frankly, these last couple of defenses have given us fits on.
And the health of your running backs, as you talked about the health of your offensive line. I know Dearness has had a knee, and obviously Etienne has had the ribs. Are they getting better? Because that's got to be a big part of getting better as an offense running the ball.
Yeah, that is a big part of it as well. And yes, they are both getting healthy, as healthy as they can be, obviously this time of year. But that's another thing too, is making sure that we've coached them up the right way to anticipate where the hole is going to be, and then just continuing to have great vision. Both of them are great backs. They're good one-cut guys. Dearness is probably a little more physical downhill type of a runner, where TJ is a little bit of a slasher, off-tackle guy. But we got to get these two guys going. They're dynamic for us, and then we have to incorporate Tank. I think Tank now this time of year can really help us in the run game and take, as we say every week, but really take a load off of those two as we make our push here, in the last month of the season.
Part of the challenge of running the ball, you look at the Baltimore Ravens defense, they got the big guy up in the middle, Michael Peterson, and you got two really good linebackers, and Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith. Is that the best linebacker combination maybe that you're going to face this year, the inside guys?
Yes, I would agree. These two are probably the best in the National Football League right now, and we've played some really good defenses, good fronts. But these two guys, I'll tell you this: that their defensive line, their front four, front five. I mean, they base themselves out of a 3-4 personnel, and they really keep linemen off of their linebackers, so they can just use their athleticism and physicality to be downhill, to run sideline to sideline, and they make a lot of plays. They, you can see how. Why this defense is really good, because they anticipate so well. They know formations. They understand what you're trying to do out of different formations and where the back is, and and things like that. But two really good athletes, playing linebacker, who are also physical downhill guys.
I know as a coach, you love players that have been around, that you trust, that are dependable, and there's other players that have been added to the mix recently in Calvin Ridley. Okay, this is all part of a process of working and building that trust with Trevor Lawrence. Do you see the communication between those two guys improving to where that chemistry can get better, because this is the time of year to have it?
I do see it getting better, and it's a work in progress. It's again, as coaches, we just can't assume that guys know. We got to make sure that they're prepared, and that comes from us, and making sure that our quarterback too has understanding of what we're asking him, and then he can communicate that with his receivers, particularly in this case Calvin, and making sure that they're on the same page. Because I tell Calvin every week, you are a big part of this offense. You're going to continue to be a big part of this offense the remainder of our season, and make big plays. But he and Trevor need to maintain that chemistry and that consistency and being on the same page. We missed a couple opportunities last week in Cleveland, and those are the things we have to clean up as we move forward.
Head coach Doug Peterson with us on the Doug Peterson Show. Let's flip it around now to the Jaguars defense in the matchup against Lamar Jackson. Dual threat quarterback, of course, former MVP. Well, communication key on defense as well. If he gets out the gate, then look out. He can score from anywhere on the field.
He can. He's real dangerous, obviously, and we know what he can do running the football. And they're going to start everything in the run game. I think this year they've made a little bit more of an emphasis on him throwing from the pocket, and he's done well. He's got some guys that can flat out roll on the outside. Some speed and with Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham's out there. I mean, they got some guys that can roll, and so our defense is just, you talk about communication. We've got to simplify, but clarity has to be the most important thing this week, and understanding that, and just all eyes on the quarterback. You got to understand, again, their formations, what they're trying to get done, where the back is, where big number 42 is going to be, things of that nature, and then you just got to trust your instincts, right? And don't go chasing the plays. We talk about it every week. Just make the ones that come to you. And they will. The ball will roll back to you. If you're in your gap, it'll roll right back to you. You make the play. Same way in the secondary. Cover them up, keep eyes on the quarterback, and it takes all 11 on defense this week.
Well, talk about a challenging game just because of Lamar Jackson's running ability, because of all the read option stuff that they have, and then his ability to extend the play. I mean, is there a guy in the league that is at that level of stressing a defense in those two categories?
There's really not. Obviously, Pat Mahomes, who we played earlier in the year, he can extend plays, and he does a nice job of throwing the ball down the field. He does that kind of stuff. Obviously, Lamar's right there with him, but Lamar is better running the football, and he's got the speed element to you. And yes, he's gonna get some plays, on you, but it's how you minimize those opportunities, and really, if you get a chance to tackle him, you tackle him and get him on the ground. I thought last year playing them, our guys did a decent job there, for the most part. But again, it's a dynamic situation for our defense again this week.
Did you do the chicken drill this week? You remember the Rocky movie, the first one where he's
chasing the chicken around? We need to because it feels what it feels like.
Russell Wilson, another name, guy who can extend and keep defense on their toes for sure. All right, Coach, final thought here. Playoff chases here. First place teams battling it out in December on Sunday Night Football. This is what you'll play everything for, right? Games like this in December.
It is, and again, it goes back to what I've been telling our football team, right? Expect to be in these games year in and year out, and embrace these games, right? Because let's not hide behind being average. Let's if we're going to hide behind anything, hide behind being number one, and let's continue to push and get better each week. And two good football teams. It's a great for the NFL, great for Sunday Night Football, and look forward to the matchup.
Thanks for the time as always, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Head Coach Doug Peterson with us. The Ravens-Jaguars game is presented by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. In about 20 minutes or so, Devin McCourty from Football Night in America on NBC. And this is the Doug Peterson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every single play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. You've worked hard for your money. So if you're ready to up your financial game, it's time to choose EverBank. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Earn your advantage at everbank.com/Jaguars.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
For us, treating cancer is personal. We're Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, and we know that every patient is unique. So you'll have a plan created by world-renowned doctors and tailored to your needs. And everyone here will support you every step of the way, so you're physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong for the journey. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Visit BaptistMDAnderson.com.
Welcome back. The Doug Peterson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lagerman from the Hyundai Studios. And our thanks to head coach Doug Peterson joining us in the opening segment each and every Thursday ahead of this week, Week 15, the Ravens and the Jaguars. The game presented by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Interesting thoughts from Coach Peterson on the communication buzzword this week, and making that a point of emphasis in the meeting room. But it's one thing in the meeting room. You got to go use it on the game field on Sunday.
Yeah, you got to transfer it over to the game field, and a lot of times it sometimes can get lost between practice and game day. But because a lot of times things change on game day. You've got the crowd, you've got situations that pop up that change the game and change what you might think of it. But either way, this defense has got to find a way to communicate. This offense has to find a way to be on the same page because, again, this is the time of year to start finding a little bit of a role so that you can go into the playoffs hot. And here's the reality. What happens if you lose and then all of a sudden you've got a couple other division teams winning, okay, namely the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts? You would still have the division lead, correct, because of tiebreakers.
Correct, but it's a little nervy when they have the same exact record as you. I'll say that.
But then all of a sudden you're looking at getting a little bit tense, a little tighter in the remaining 3 games.
Tennessee and Houston play this week, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so Houston's 7-6, obviously, and the Jaguars split the series with them. The Jaguars have a 4-1 division record. Houston, if they win, would have a 2-2 division record. So that would be the tiebreaker. Jaguars would still be up top, but yeah, then let's not even go there. I mean, go win the game.
No,
but worry about it. But it's entirely possible.
My point is that look, you think you're kind of getting a little nervous now about the way you're playing. You lose this one, and all of a sudden you're looking at zero room for error.
Isn't this, though, what competing teams deal with every year?
Yes.
This kind of thing?
Yeah, and the mature teams find a way to work through it, okay, and to get their performance better. And hopefully this team is mature enough and is going to do that here in the remaining 4 games. I mean, because look at the playoff race. I mean, there you go. Okay, Ravens right there at number 1. They're the number 1 seed in the conference right now. And they're not looking to give that up because they would put Kansas City in a very different situation than the years past, which is having to go on the road for the first time with Patrick Mahomes. The Jaguars end up staying at number 4, but look at all the teams that are bunched up in the hunt there. I mean, the Texans, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Buffalo Bills.
There's 6 teams with a 7-6 record.
Well, and here's the other thing. If you look at those teams that are in the hunt right there, the Texans, the Broncos, the Bengals, and the Bills, do you want to play any of those guys in the playoffs? I mean,
happen to get in. Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, the Denver Broncos might be playing as good a football as there is in the National Football League, and they were the laughing stock of the league earlier in the season.
They were terrible. They've now won 6 or 7.
Cincinnati Bengals, Jake Browning, I mean, he's got some footing. Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen at quarterback, and they're finding their groove. This is a tough conference now. Almost wish you could switch, go to the NFC.
No, just got to handle the business and move on. So there you
Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns,
Yeah, I mean, just beat the Jags.
I fear, and the Colts, I fear the teams that right now are on the outside looking in more than those that are in the wild card position right now. Would you agree?
The Browns just beat the Jags.
I know. Okay.
You just went on them. They just won.
Exactly. And if the Jaguars had not had those mistakes.
Well, yeah, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts.
I know.
What are we talking about?
I know, but my point is that, JP, look at those teams in the wild card. Okay, and then look at those teams in the hunt. Okay, who would you rather face? Okay, would you rather, as a group, face the wild card teams or the in the hunt teams?
So would I rather face the Browns, Steelers, and Colts, or
as a
the
collective?
Texans, Broncos, Bengals, and Bills?
Yes.
Yeah, I think because you already beaten the Colts twice, already beat the Steelers, the Browns. To your point, okay, a few plays here or there. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, the teams in the hunt are like striving to get back into the wild card, and they're going to be rolling maybe.
I
think some of these teams will play each other and knock them out of contention. That's how that's going to work. But
well, look, here's my point here. Okay, C.J. Stroud, Russ. Okay, I'm not going to go there with Jake Browning yet. Okay,
well, he went there already,
but he's played pretty good. Yeah. And then Josh Allen. Look at the quarterbacks in the wild card. category?
Yeah, the fourth, Flacco.
Okay, off the couch. Yeah. Who's playing quarterback for the Steelers now? Trubisky? Big deal.
And then Gardner
Minshew. I mean, the quarterbacks that are in the hunt, I think you fear them more. I don't say fear them. You respect them more than the ones that are in the wild card, in my opinion.
We've got plenty to get to a little bit later, about 15 minutes or so. We'll hear from Devin McCourty of NBC Sports, analyst for Football Night in America. We caught up earlier today. We'll get his thoughts on where the Jaguars are without Christian Kirk in this offense and much more ahead. Back in a moment, though, to get into this Jaguars defense against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, what they have to offer. Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. This is the Doug Peterson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Eat like a Jag, the fresh from Florida way. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Justin. Head over to freshfromflorida.com and sign up for our loyalty club to unlock interactive perks available only to club members. It's all the great stuff you've loved about freshfromflorida.com and more. For club members, it's an interactive experience that will help you get the most out of your Fresh from Florida recipes. Enjoy all the benefits of being a member. Join the Fresh from Florida Club today.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game. Imagine traveling to watch the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans in Nashville aboard a luxury private jet. Download the free Vaunt app at flyvaunt.com/Jags for your chance to win round-trip private flights, hotel stay, game tickets, and pregame field passes for you and 3 of your friends. When you become a Vaunt member, you can unlock the opportunity to fly private for an entire year for only $1,000. That's it. So download Vaunt at flyvaunt.com/Jags and discover a world of private jet travel today.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Welcome back. The Doug Peterson Show continues right now.
The Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. JP Shadrick with Jeff Logum and the Ravens and the Jaguars coming up on Sunday Night Football. The Jaguars' first appearance on a true Sunday Night Football NBC telecast since 2008. Phew, been a long
What was it?
time.
It was like 12 years from the last Monday Night Football game.
Correct.
And now it's like 14 years
Yeah.
from the last Sunday Night Football game.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Whatever the math is on the years. More longer than that.
No,
2008.
it's been 14.
15 years.
Is it 15 years?
2008?
14, 15. Wow.
It's 2023, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 15 years. Wow.
That's amazing.
Long time.
Hey, but enjoy it. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. The Ravens and the Jaguars and the Jags defense. Well, they're going to have their hands full, and Lamar Jackson is a big reason why. He is the leading rusher for the Ravens at quarterback, and he can throw it around, and they've got a really powerful running game overall. Not just Lamar, but they can get it done.
He has rushed for over, I think, 600 yards every year of his career, which is incredible. Okay, he's led the Ravens in rushing in each of the last 5 years, which is, again, amazing. You're talking about a guy that has 29 rushing touchdowns in his career. How many did Fred Taylor have?
Well, in the 80s, right?
Just out of curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking about a quarterback who is in his 6th year, and he has 29 rushing touchdowns to his name.
Yeah, Fred had 66
career
rushing touchdowns.
Lamar Jackson is almost at the halfway point.
Maurice was in the 80s. Sorry.
Of Fred Taylor, which is amazing. I mean, what is impressive about him and why defenses are hard, it's very hard to defend him. When you think about, and this was explained to me years ago from one of the great minds in football, and Gus Bradley, one of the great defensive minds in football, and he said, think about it, Logs, in the part of you got to count bodies. Okay, when you count bodies, when you're talking about a read option situation, he goes, they gain an extra blocker. He goes, now it may not actually be a blocker, but you have another person that has to be responsible for the running back and the quarterback to now be possible ball carriers. And he goes, so your 8-man front, if the quarterback is a running quarterback, he said in reality is only a 7-man front because of the quarterback being a runner. And so from a number standpoint, it's hard to defend a guy who is a legitimate running threat. Now look, if it's Joe Flacco running the read option, it's not an advantage to the Browns to run Joe Flacco the read option. They may still do it just because that's in their playbook and they have it in for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but it's not like he scares the defense from that standpoint because the numbers, it doesn't help because Joe Flacco's not a legit runner. And this guy can stop and start on a dime. And he's a quarterback, and, of course, the quarterbacks are afforded a lot of protections, and he takes advantage of that at times, where if all of a sudden he's looking like he's going to go out of bounds, he knows you're not going to whack him, so he's going to stay in bounds for a few more yards.
I asked Andrew Wingard in the locker room this week, as a safety, when you see Lamar Jackson kind of break through and he's in the clear one-on-one against you, what do you think? And he said –
Oh, boy.
Oh, blank is what he said. So it's one of those. You just got to kind of do it the best you can and hope the cavalry arrives with you.
Yeah, and that's real. I mean, it's I mentioned the chicken drill with Doug.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what it feels like sometimes. Trying to chase a chicken, but there's not a fence or a corral to keep the chicken in. It's a much bigger corral with Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's that good.
Jags fans, imagine traveling to watch the Jaguars take on the Titans in Nashville aboard a luxury private jet with 4 of your friends. Visit flyvaunt.com/Jags and enter the flyaway sweepstakes today. Plenty ahead. Jaguars offense, communication coming up.
Yeah, but when we come back, the Ravens offense has the new coordinator that we talked about a little while ago, Todd Monken. They've got a little attitude about them, okay?
Oh.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about the first play that the Ravens ran against the Rams, okay? Because they're not afraid to send a message, okay, to an opponent on a first play.
Okay.
And they sent a big one to the Rams last week on the first play.
We are about to find out what that is. In mere moments, it's the Doug Peterson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Calling all Jags fans. Is your little one ready to become a junior Jaguar? Now through January 2nd, MyGate rewards loyalty members who buy 2 20-ounce Coca-Cola participating products will be entered to win one of 10 behind-the-scenes experiences at Everbank Stadium for your child. Plus, you'll earn a 10-cent rollback at the pump, a win every time. Fuel your child's dreams, your car, and your passion for the Jags with Gate, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
It's time for the Make the Holidays Bright sales event at your local Ford dealer. Get special offers on our adventure-ready Ford SUVs or on our great selection of Ford trucks. Choose from a large inventory of Ford vehicles equipped with technology, space, and flexibility for any season. And let Ford make the holidays bright, bringing everyone together. Visit your local Ford dealer today during the Make the Holidays Bright sales event.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Welcome back. The Doug Peterson Show continues right now.
The Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, our thanks to head coach Doug Peterson joining us in the opening 10, 15 minutes or so of the program each and every week. And coming up, in about 5 to 10 minutes, it's Devin McCourty, Football Night in America analyst, will join us.
Is he still
NBC
playing?
Sports. No, he retired after last season. And
he had a long career.
He had a long career and a successful career. 3 Super Bowl wins.
Good for him.
He had 6 tackles in the AFC Championship game against the Jaguars after the 2017 season.
He's got a brother.
Twin brother.
Twin.
They're both in media.
Is his brother not playing anymore either?
I think they're both out.
Okay.
Because they played together at the end in New England.
Yeah, New England.
And that's when they kind of started doing their own kind of podcast thing, I think, for a couple years at the end. And
good for them.
It has turned quickly to a media career.
Yeah, look,
he told me today that
smart guy.
My body feels a whole lot better this year for some reason. It's like, well, yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not out there anymore. Hey, Ravens-Rams game last week, and sending a message with some early play. The Ravens. Explain yourself.
So Ravens offensive first play of the game. If you're getting ready to face the Rams, what's the one guy that you know is the focal point of energy, the guy you got to block for the Rams?
That big fella in the middle that wears number 99.
Correct.
Aaron Donald.
And he's not as big as a lot of others, but he plays bigger than most.
I wouldn't tell him that.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Aaron Donald is lined up on the first play, and the Ravens come out, and they essentially run a trap or a wham right at Aaron Donald, and it's Patrick Ricard, the fullback, that cuts him, coming from outside, from the opposite side of the field, in motion behind the line of scrimmage on the snap of the ball. They fake Aaron Donald. The linemen go up the field. Patrick Ricard goes and cuts him right down low.
Ooh. Whew. Legal because it's inside the
totally
tackles,
legal.
Right? Can't do that outside.
And that is totally sending a message.
I'd say.
That, hey, you're not going to be the one that controls and dominates this game. And they went right at him the first play to send a message. That's Todd Monken. That's the Todd Monken that I know.
This is a message from Monken, right?
So it will be interesting to see if they want to send a message on the first play of the game against the Jaguars.
How would you do that? Like, who would you like?
Who's the Jaguars' best player right now?
Josh Allen.
There
right?
you go.
Okay. Head on a swivel.
Put Patrick Ricard after him.
Oh boy.
You know, some kind of a zone cut back and have Ricard come and cut Josh Allen low. I mean, something of that nature. Now, Aaron Donald is a very special player.
Yeah.
And he's been an incredibly special player for many years. This guy is going into the Hall of Fame on roller skates. And does Josh Allen warrant that same kind of respect, message being sent? I don't know. But it was interesting to watch that first play last week because I went, I know what that's about. That's sending a message.
Message work out.
It was a battle. Now, they did a pretty good job on Aaron Donald. The two guards for the Baltimore Ravens, which the one guard's been around forever in Zeitler. He's a good player. And the left guard, John Simpson, I've watched a little bit, but he's still a young player. He did a really good job of matching the strength of Aaron Donald, which was surprising. So who's the strongest Jaguars defensive tackle? Big Roy, right?
Sure.
When you think about Big Roy. Big Roy will have his hands full going up against Simpson because he's a strong dude as well.
We're back in a moment. Devin McCourty joining us from Football Night in America with NBC Sports. Sunday Night Football this week for the Ravens and the Jaguars. And this is the Doug Peterson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Eat like a Jag, the fresh from Florida way. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Justin. Head over to freshfromflorida.com and sign up for our loyalty club to unlock interactive perks available only to club members. It's all the great stuff you've loved about freshfromflorida.com and more. For club members, it's an interactive experience that will help you get the most out of your Fresh from Florida recipes. Enjoy all the benefits of being a member. Join the Fresh from Florida Club today.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Calling all Jags fans. Is your little one ready to become a junior Jaguar? Now through January 2nd, MyGate Rewards loyalty members who buy 2 20-ounce Coca-Cola participating products will be entered to win one of 10 behind-the-scenes experiences at Everbank Stadium for your child. Plus, you'll earn a 10-cent rollback at the pump, a win every time. Fuel your child's dreams, your car, and your passion for the Jags with Gate, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Imagine traveling to watch the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans in Nashville aboard a luxury private jet. Download the free Vaunt app at flyvaunt.com/Jags for your chance to win round-trip private flights, hotel stay, game tickets, and pregame field passes for you and 3 of your friends. When you become a Vaunt member, you can unlock the opportunity to fly private for an entire year for only $1,000. That's it. So download Vaunt at flyvaunt.com/Jags and discover a world of private jet travel today.
Welcome back. The Doug Peterson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. The Jaguars on Sunday Night Football this week on NBC for the first time since 2008. Football Night in America is the show that precedes the game broadcast. And former cornerback Devin McCourty is now an analyst for NBC Sports. He retired after last season, longtime safety for the New England Patriots. And we talked about this Jaguars offense without Christian Kirk, and there are still options for offensive coordinator Press Taylor and head coach Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, I played against Doug Peterson in 17 and that Super Bowl against, Philadelphia, and it was the same kind of thing. It was Zach Ertz at tight end. It was Alshon Jeffrey at receiver. It was Nelson Aguilar at receiver. It was Torrey Smith. It was LeGarrette Blount or Jay Ajayi or Clement. Like, they just had all of these different guys who, if you step back and somebody said, hey, at all of these different positions, pick your top 3 guys, nobody probably would pick any of those guys. But when you put it together and you have to go out there and plan as a defense and you turn on the film, you're like, these guys are really getting after it. Evan Ingram's a problem at tight end. His speed, his athletic ability, who guards him? Safety, linebacker, corner. It's a tough matchup. And you start to look at that, and I think Jacksonville's done an awesome job. I watched the Cincinnati game, and the first 2 drives, everybody was getting a touch. Evan Ingram got it. Dearness Johnson got it. Etienne got it. Zay Jones, Christian. Everybody touched the ball. So now when you get back to the sideline of all right, this is their attack. This is what we're doing. It's like, hey, coach. But they also threw it to him. Hey, coach, they also put him in this spot. Hey. So, when you do that, I think that's what Doug Peterson does really well. And now it's trying to figure out, all right, is Parker Washington going to be a guy where we can say, hey, go step and be all of Christian Kirk's roles? Or is he a guy now that they have to move guys around and say, all right, we want to put you here, Like, that's what they're going to have to figure out, what they think the best kind of group or positions each guy should be in going forward. That isn't always easy to do after you build something like that, to just know exactly what pieces of the puzzle and where they should be. And I think that's what Doug Peterson's figuring out now.
Devin McCourty with us, NBC Sports, Football Night in America. Ravens, Jaguars on Sunday Night Football this week. And the Jaguars' defense has really prided itself on stopping the run. For the most of the season, they've been really good in that department and taking the ball away. And they did that again last week. They're tied for first in the league in takeaways. But they gave up some big play touchdowns last week. A 41-yarder, a 34-yarder, a 31-yarder. Missed assignments or lack of communication, which has been the buzzword this week around here on both sides of the ball. How concerning is that communication thing in Week 15? I mean, it feels like that should have been taken care of in like Week 5. Is that a problem for a defense this late?
I mean, it is. Like, you can't say that it's not. And I think when I watch them, obviously Caldwell comes under that Todd Bowles aggressive, different blitz packages. I remember talking to Logan Ryan when he went to Tampa Bay, and he was like, man, they have a lot of defense. Like, there's a lot of different things and adjustments you can do. And when you have that, it makes it harder to communicate. It's a week in and week out different thing that you have to communicate, because when you do a lot, depending on who you play, they could also do a lot, or they could do less, or they could do this different than that. So you always have to communicate. And I think when I watch them, they do. They kind of, what we call on defense, we used to call it spin the wheel. Like, you're not going to get this team that, I think some teams we talk about, like the Seattle 3, like that cover 3, you're going to get it all the time, or you're going to get man-to-man all the time. Like, when I turn on Jacksonville, you might get 2 safeties high in a cover 2, or you might get 2 safeties high in a cover 4. You might get 5-man pressure. You might get 6-man pressure. You might see the corner go. You might see like, they do a lot of different things. And when you do that, the communication has to always have a certain standard. No matter who's in the game, we always have to hit this standard. When all of our guys are in there and our top communicators get together, all right, we can raise that bar. But I think last week they hit a guy like Joe Flacco, who everything that you're doing, he's seen it before. He knows what's coming. So I didn't think they did as good of a job of disguising some things. So when they did come, or they did do different things, he knew exactly where he wanted to go.
Devin McCourty with us. Final thought here, and mentioning Lamar. New play caller this year in Baltimore. How different is Lamar's game overall this year than in the past? And obviously still effective on both ways, running and throwing the football. Yeah,
I think the early part of his career, I think he took a lot of the flack for the way the offense was built. It was always like, he can't do this, he can't do that. And it was kind of like, well, we don't know. Like, it's not his decision to be in here and running these different plays and having an offensive line that was kind of built. And I don't want to say like Navy football and a triple option, but it was kind of built like these road grading offensive linemen who could fire off the ball. They could do all that. But anytime they got behind, like, their strength as an offensive line wasn't dropping back and pass protecting and passing off game. Like, they struggled with those things. So because of that, they had a lot of all, 3-step drops, like quick slants, quick outs, hitch routes, stop right over the ball. Like, it was all very basic. And I was always saying that to people, like, well, we don't know if Lamar Jackson can be a guy who stays in the pocket and throws the ball downfield. And we're finding out this year he can do that. And he can do that. And then when all else fails, like, you turn on the Rams game, it was raining. The field conditions were poor. Not for number 8. He was running, cutting, juking, making plays. So he's the guy that he's always been. You don't really want to play against him as a defense. It's very similar to when I was in the league playing against Cam Newton. You can say whatever you want about what he couldn't do and this. And as a defense, it wasn't that enjoyable trying to stop a guy like him, because yes, he wasn't Peyton Manning, he wasn't Tom Brady and Drew Brees, but he was a tank. And when he ran, you're like, man, how are we gonna get this guy down? And Lamar Jackson's a guy, when he runs, you're like, how are we gonna get a hand on him? And then, like, the last play that he hit Zay Flowers on and the touchdown before over, like, he moves up, he moves back, he slides, and then when he sees Zay Flowers, just like that, the ball flings from his wrist, like in his hand, and it's gone. It's a touchdown. Like, that's so hard to stop. So hey, Jacksonville defense, I'm happy I don't have to do that anymore. And good luck going out there Sunday night.
There you have it, Devin McCourty from NBC Sports, Football Night in America. And the full conversation coming soon on the official Jaguars podcast network and countdown to kickoff Sunday night. Fresh from Florida is proud to partner with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Eat like a Jag when you choose Fresh from Florida. Jeff Lageman back in a moment. It's the Doug Peterson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Calling all Jags fans. Is your little one ready to become a junior Jaguar? Now through January 2nd, MyGate rewards loyalty members who buy 2 20-ounce Coca-Cola participating products will be entered to win one of 10 behind-the-scenes experiences at Everbank Stadium for your child. Plus, you'll earn a 10-cent rollback at the pump, a win every time. Fuel your child's dreams, your car, and your passion for the Jags with Gate, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
It's time for the Make the Holidays Bright sales event at your local Ford dealer. Get special offers on our adventure-ready Ford SUVs or on our great selection of Ford trucks. Choose from a large inventory of Ford vehicles equipped with technology, space, and flexibility for any season. And let Ford make the holidays bright, bringing everyone together. Visit your local Ford dealer today during the Make the Holidays Bright sales event.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com/shadows. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome back. The Doug Peterson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville ahead of Week 15 Sunday Night Football. The Ravens and the Jaguars, a battle of division leaders under the lights, the teal lights. By the way, the light show will be back this week. There'll be some different instructions in your cup holder if you're coming to the stadium, so follow those. And be in your seat around 10 till 8 because 8:20 is the kickoff time this week.
All right, well, let's hope for good weather.
Yeah.
I know the weather's a little iffy right now for Sunday, but hopefully it's going to end up being a great night for football. No rain, or at least, manageable. And we'll see what happens. But still got some time to make the forecast better.
Yeah. Let's put in a good word there for that. That'd be nice.
I hope.
Trevor Lawrence against Lamar Jackson. Premier quarterback matchup.
Well, it's a premier quarterback matchup, but I also think that this is also a great matchup of Super Bowl winning coaches. I don't want to kind of miss that aspect of it too, because you're talking about two great coaches that have been there and have done that. They each have a Super Bowl win and obviously Super Bowl aspirations for this year. But this is a great matchup of minds and the battle of the coaching staffs, because the one thing I think that's been impressive about John Harbaugh is how consistent he's been as far as winning, and he's done it with a lot of different coordinators. From offensive coordinators to defensive coordinators, he's been able to win. And Doug Peterson, I think, has been impressive with what he's assembled with his coaching staff. So this is going to be a battle of the minds a little bit too, and the battle of two great players in Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence.
Can't wait for it. It's going to be such a fun game, and let's hope the Jaguars can just play better overall, and they still haven't had that complete all three phases on all cylinders game, it feels like.
It's going to be a challenge for the Jaguars offensively, and I think it's imperative that you come out with a fast start. And the reason why is that after you had some miscommunications last week, if you come out and you have some miscommunications early in this ball game, or you have lack of success, what does that do to build momentum for you in the game? Are you going to have that mindset, we're doing it again? If you come out and you start fast, it's okay, let's go. We're finding our stride. We've got a rhythm, okay? We're communicating. We're making sure that we're not going to make the mistakes. So I think a fast start is going to be imperative for this team.
Back in a moment, and we'll get our final thoughts ahead of the Ravens-Jaguars matchup. Bootleggers, get ready. Luke Combs is bringing 2 nights of the Growing Up and Getting Old tour to Everbank Stadium. It's May 3rd and 4th. Different special guests each night. Tickets on sale now. Visit everbankstadium.com. This is the Doug Peterson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Eat like a Jag, the fresh from Florida way. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Justin. Head over to freshfromflorida.com and sign up for our loyalty club to unlock interactive perks available only to club members. It's all the great stuff you've loved about freshfromflorida.com and more. For club members, it's an interactive experience that will help you get the most out of your Fresh from Florida recipes. Enjoy all the benefits of being a member. Join the Fresh from Florida Club today.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game. Imagine traveling to watch the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans in Nashville aboard a luxury private jet. Download the free Vaunt app at flyvaunt.com/Jags for your chance to win round-trip private flights, hotel stay, game tickets, and pregame field passes for you and 3 of your friends. When you become a Vaunt member, you can unlock the opportunity to fly private for an entire year for only $1,000. That's it. So download Vaunt at flyvaunt.com/Jags and discover a world of private jet travel today.
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field-goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back. The Doug Peterson Show continues right now.
The Doug Peterson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Food tastes better when it's grown closer to home. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Head coach Doug Peterson in the opening segment each and every Thursday. Devin McCourty from NBC Sports with us as well. The full conversation with him coming up later this weekend.
Great perspective he had, by the way.
Yeah.
I love listening to him.
Oh, he's fantastic. And it's his first year as an analyst, right after leaving the NFL as a player. And he and his brother are well on their way to big things. They're both in the industry. We're talking about this Ravens offense and the way they play. They run the ball. They've gone over 100 yards rushing as a team now in 29 straight games. Longest active streak and the fifth longest in the Super Bowl era. The record is 43, by the way, two different times.
Who had the 43, by the way?
The Ravens.
Ravens
at one
did.
point.
It was back.
And, yeah, it would have been in the 18 to 21 era.
Okay, 2018 to 21. Okay.
And then the Steelers in the late 70s.
All right.
Had 43.
Which
so,
back then it was a rushing league.
Run the ball.
Wasn't as much of a passing league, but
they run the ball because they a lot of times can have the lead and run the ball too.
Well, and they've got a running quarterback. I mean, that's if you look at the history of the NFL, the great rushing teams have all seemed to have had rushing quarterbacks. Again, that goes to the count thing that we talked about, and that you're trying to outnumber, an offense with a defense as far as getting numbers in the box. And when you have a running quarterback, it's hard to do that because you get an extra blocker because the quarterback's a legit runner.
And they get it done early, and they get on top of teams, and that's the way they play.
Yeah, the stat, and, I mentioned before the break about the need for a fast start in this ballgame. One, just because, to give yourself some positive thoughts after having – some disappointment in the last two games, also to build momentum at home, which you haven't been very good. You've only won 2 games at Everbank Stadium, but also because the Ravens are used to playing on top. You look at them season long, they have literally only trailed for a little more than 5 quarters of the entire season. So put them in a position that they're maybe unaccustomed to, and that is trailing instead of leading, take them out of that front runner role a little bit and out of their comfort zone of having the ability to stay with the run. If you force them to throw the ball more than they want to, that puts them in a position they don't want to be in. But how do you do that? You got to have early success and score points early. And has the Jaguars offense been able to do that this year? Jump out to a 14-0 lead or 10-0 lead. It's not easy to do, especially when you're facing the second-best defense in the National Football League. But that would be a goal.
All games this time of year seem to be big, and certainly the case around the NFL this weekend. It's the first slate of Saturday games as well,
Fantastic.
Featuring 6 winning teams.
Yeah, and tonight you got the Chargers at the Raiders.
These are not winning teams.
Not a great game, but it's still an NFL game. I'll watch it. And then on Saturday at 1 o'clock, you got Vikings at Cincinnati or at the Bengals. And then at the 4:30 slot, you got Pittsburgh at Indy. And then, JP, the game that you're going to be calling, which is Denver at the Detroit Lions on Saturday night at 8:15.
Great game.
That's a great game you got.
Broncos are hot right now. The Lions are looking for their first division title since '93. They can't clinch it. They could clinch a playoff berth. There's like 16 scenarios where they could clinch a playoff berth after the weekend's done, but that matchup's going to be great because Russell and the Broncos are playing well.
Well, playing well, and for you, good for you. You're working with Mike Golick.
I am, yeah.
Who is, I think, one of the best analysts in the business. Love listening to him. Love listening to Mike and Mike for a long period of time, and love to listen to his perspective. And also, he's a great guy, good friend, and love Mike.
You know what? You're one of the best analysts in the business. Lars.
Yeah, well, Mike's on the national level. I'm very happy with where I'm at, but good for you because you'll enjoy working with Mike.
Appreciate it, Logs. That's Jeff Lageman. I'm JP Shadrick. Our thanks to David Cho, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reaver. And thanks to you for listening. The Jaguars and the Ravens coming up this Sunday on Sunday Night Football. This is the Doug Peterson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.